Next up's Cameron.
Yep. Go ahead and open my buzz.
Hold on, let me grab my phone and actually fucking go to yours. I put my phone down. Okay, there we go.
All right. I'm sorry for how long this is. I didn't know it was 5 page. I thought it was 7. That's totally my bad. So,
You stuck with him.
all right. Here we go. The fire on the logs had long been extinguished, yet some of the embers still crackled within the burnt wood. Empty brownish red aluminum cans littered the dusty campsite dunes. This once shining city of innovation now rusted to a point of decay. From now acts as a haunting reminder that if this was how the best was living, then the rest of the world must be so much worse. It's here that we follow the story of 3 survivors who have banded together to meet here at the ruins of a Hyperloop train station to converse and trade, pretending to get away from the bleak reality that surrounds them. A young goggle wearing man wraps a new, less brown rag around his nose and mouth. He places a dirty can of artificial spam to the side of him and clears his throat. War. War never changes. Now, Maki, I'm gonna stop you there. You see, you do this every time we got a fire going, and you said you would stop. Alright, Uncle Sam, alright. I'll stop. You just focus on not dying, and I'll. Oh no, boy, I'm serious this time. Why on this bad, dead wasteland would you start off your store sounding like that? Ain't no war going on. Ain't no war back then, neither. Hasn't been a war in over 50 years, and the wasteland only began 5 of those ago. Now stop it with your silliness. I'm sick of your storytelling. Uncle Sam continues to mumble at the rest of his insults. The old man who goes by Sam was once a wealthier man from a wealthier time. He now had wrinkles to match his age. His white wispy hair had become shaggy, unkempt, and patchy. Oh gosh, where am I? Despite his past life of decent luxury, Sam was a smart and kind man to all. It was he who originally started the weekly event of encouraging humans to once again band together after it seemed the apocalypse had come. After his legacy of inventing had seemingly been erased, Sam now ushered the development of his new legacy, the campfire at the Hyperloop station, the trading safe space of the new world. Yeah, well, I'm sick of your cooking, you old baboon, Mike says while blowing snot dust from one nostril. I'm sick of you, Mikey. Now open your bag. I want to see what you got to trade. Jess, you want to trade? Found anything good today? Sam nods at Jess, our last survivor of the musketeers of the wasteland. Jess, a woman hidden behind a gas mask, snaps out of her daze and looks up to the 2 older men. Small lives lay exposed on her leather jacket and pants, a sign to any other wastelander that this woman was a lone survivor. Jess had good reason to distrust the men of the wasteland, as history had always encouraged men to see women as valuable slaves in times of desperation. After not being able to find her family, Jess had begun pondering if it would be worth it to set aside her pride for easy living in the apocalypse, to let a man rule over her as a slave master would. All this for complete access to a strong man's resources and his protection. But when Jess finally decided to let her pride go and find a barbarian to conquer her, all she could find were Uncle Sam and Mike, 2 men who were just as desperate for normalcy as she was. Mikey interrupts as Jess doesn't immediately answer. I sure did. Found some decent treasures in that neighborhood full of big houses. But you two can't get the goods. Only whatever else I. Oh, shut up, Mikey. I was asking Jess. Oh, oh yeah. I didn't find anything good, but maybe you two got something I want? Jess pulls her knapsack in front of her and begins digging inside. That's the point of trading, sweetheart. The world's already ended. Why would we change our most human habits? Hoarding selfish desires and throwing away the rest. Uncle Sam solemnly says as he too begins to rustle through his pile of suitcases just behind his tent. I got this cool knife, Sam. How about you trade me for that box of tools you've been keeping for so long? You couldn't have them if I was cold and dead. Jess, doll, do your Uncle Sammy a favor and make sure to bury me with my toolbox. Sure thing, Uncle. And Mike, that's just a butcher's knife. It's not that all that cool. Mikey pulls the knife into the air and examines it against the orange clouds that covered the sky. Despite his ignorance, there was no doubting the quality of the knife's blade. It must have been brand new, even by the old innovation world standards. Most would Most worlds Oh, sorry. Most would suspect it was hidden away in a box of some kind, but as every metal material was breaking down at an accelerated rate, it was still odd to see such a clean and sharp tool available. All metals were becoming increasingly rare by the month. Tools, weapons, everything with metal was rusting away into orange metallic dust. What's it for then? Cooking? Oh, Jess, you want to trade for my cool cooking knife? Mikey suggested, and although it was out of kindness, Jess had to refrain from taking any offense. Sure, Mike. I'll trade you for your cool kitchen knife. I don't think there's anything in here you want, though. I haven't found anything good in. Jess halts mid conversation as she pulls out a clean, chromatic cylinder with a glass top from her bag. Inside the cylinder, compact swirling circuitry resonating a neon yellow energy sparks blue flames at random intervals. It vibrated in her hands and weighed virtually nothing, but its origin confused the woman. How did this get in here? I don't remember picking this thing up. Dibs! Mikey shouts. His butcher knife clatters across the partially exposed tile of the Hyperloop station as he frantically snatches the device from Jess's palm. Mikey, what has gotten into you? You could have impaled Jess. Be more careful, you hear? Uncle tries reprimanding the boy, but Mikey gets too giddy with excitement to acknowledge his wasteland friends. Mikey pulls out a shoebox from his backpack and pulls out a chrome-plated flashlight. Unscrewing the back of it, he dumps out an empty battery and loads in the new one he had just taken from Jess. Jess scoots the knife back to Mike, unsure if she is willing to trade for just this, if Mikey's space jet gadget seems more valuable than the battery itself. Uncle Sam swallows for a second before shuffling closer to Mike. Is that a wishing wand? You bet your toolbox it is. Sorry, Jess interrupts. What's a wishing wand? It's real easy. Sam, explain it to her so I can get us somewhere with loot. Jess turns to Uncle, who hesitates before regaining his cool composure. A wishing wand is a tool I invented with my inventor brother from the old world. It's a child's toy. A very rich child's toy. The device can read the current flowing through your cerebral, through the palm of your hands with it. You can think of going to any place or think of getting to anything, and it will open a portal to that place or thing. So it can go anywhere? Jess asked. Well, it goes wherever you want, but it defaults to whatever is closest to your original place. So if you want to go to the beach, don't expect it to be in China. Expect it to be at your nearest beach. Mikey points the flashlight at Uncle's tense wall and flicks the switch. A yellow portal ignites open on the side of the cloth, and blue sparks fly out and get sucked back inside as a black hole does with light. It does this, coating the entire campsite in changing hues of gold and teal, swirling and vibrating the air around them, followed by a low-pitched hump. Mikey's rag flies from his face and he's seen smiling with an open mouth, laughing with pure excitement in a change from the dreary world around them. Let's go, you guys! Mikey shouts before running headfirst into the portal. Uncle? Jess looks up and sees Sam packing a small bag full of tools. We can come back for the rest of our things. I see where Mikey's paradise takes us. Jess picked up the butcher's knife and put it in her knapsack. Uncle held out his hand and helped her up as the two approached it and entered the portal. Within less than a millisecond, all the electricity within the two travelers' atoms were untethered from their orbit and redirected to a new area from which the other end of the portal would reconstruct the atoms to a completely identical state they originally operated as. Passage through the portal felt like a full-body pinch. The travelers' vision vibrated slightly and their head echoed with a minor headache, but they made it. They had traveled through the apocalypse using a wishing wand. Instantly upon making it to the other side, Jess and Uncle had appeared in the dunes of a neighborhood of mansion ruins. Mikey was seen cursing God, pounding the sand with his gloved fist and crying on his knees. So this is Mikey's paradise? Not what I would have wished for, but to each their own. Jess mocked and placed a hand on her hip, admiring the annihilation of a rich society. Mikey, why are you wasting that battery for this dump? I wish for more wishing wands, you big meanies. Mickey got up from his knees and brushed off his pants. His head hung low in defeat for a moment. This is the place I found the wand. It was just sitting in a box under the couch, but the battery was dead. Under a couch? That shouldn't be enough to protect it from the elements, Jess thought. You're light. Did you check the thing first to make sure it wasn't broken? I don't know how it works, you old fart. I just knew what it did. It can't be broken. It can't. I. Mikey walks up to the flat side of a crumbled wall and clicks the wishing wand once more. If this doesn't work, y'all can have this stupid thing and I'll kill myself. Before anyone could stop him, Mikey ran into a newly formed portal. Jess and Uncle looked at each other for a moment. Jess, expecting Uncle to walk back to the campsite with her, watches the old man in confusion as he walks towards the portal. If he's serious, I can fix that wand and get us someplace nice. Who knows? Maybe there's still some normal place on the planet we can't find, but the wand can. Sam looks at Jess. You coming, doll? On the other side of the portal, Jess and Uncle Sam end up placing their shoes on fresh tiled ground. The inside furnishings of a pre-apocalyptic mansion surround them. Mike lays propped up on an expensive couch and throws his dusty coat arms into the air. Electricity powers the lights and ceiling fan. It's clean and modern for the wanderers. Welcome to King Mikey's castle. Make yourselves at home. Well, paint me purple. You actually got us somewhere nice. Yeah, well, kind of gave up on wishing around for more wishing wands. I just don't think it likes that kind of wish, you know? Maybe it's selfish with being used and such. Don't matter to me. I just didn't think I'd live to see the day you did anything right, boy. Sam says as he begins to wander up the staircase to the second floor. Jess? Want to cuddle and watch a movie on the TV? Mike boldly suggests, however, Jess refuses. Not a chance. Here's your cooking knife back. I'm gonna go see if there's anyone outside. If we're in a neighborhood that's managed to survive, then we're not the only ones anymore. We get to live like humans, not animals. Jess begins to make her way to the door and stops as she grabs the door handle. Thank you, Mikey, for all this. I owe you and that wand my life. As Jess opens the door, she watches Mikey for a reaction, unsure if her denial towards him would harbor any sort of resentment. Mikey, however, shrugged it off and turned on the television without another thought. Jess sighed and closed the door behind her as she stepped onto the porch. Only after had she finished thinking about Mikey did she see it. A void of pitch-black nothing surrounding the floating island the mansion rested on. It was empty, without wind, without any amount of light besides the light coming from the home. The darkness was incomprehensible in distance, but as Jess peered over the island's edge, the dirt fell into the void, disappearing into the black expanse below. Calmly, Jess entered back inside the house and held the door handle in her hand for a moment, trying not to explode from pure terrifying confusion. Sam, shortly after hearing Jess return, came rushing down the stairs. Mikey, where did you take us? Uncle shouted in such a booming voice, Mikey, who was already laying rested, almost fell out of the couch. What? What are you talking about, you geezer? The wishing wand, Mikey. Where did you wish us to go? To a house that wasn't wrecked by all that particle accelerator junk? What's the problem with that? You wanted a house where the particle accelerator caused an apocalypse? Just adds herself to the conflict. Mikey, we're not even on our home planet anymore. Mikey swapped bewildered looks between Uncle and Jess. What? You guys must be lying, trying to trick me. Where the hell would we be? Last I checked, this is a human house. They got human TV and human movies. Mikey, we're floating around in nothing. There's nothing outside this house. Jess tries to explain, but Mikey gets off the ground and goes to check the front door himself. Wherever you wish to be, the wishing wand dropped us off here. Mikey looks out the window for a moment in silence. His fist curls up and begins shaking in anger. This is bull. We're leaving now. Mikey pulls the wand from his jacket and tries to ignite another portal onto the front door. The wishing wand's bulb glows for a moment and then cuts out. Mikey presses the switch again and again, but the wishing wand refuses to activate. No! Come on! Why won't... Ugh! Mikey exclaims and throws a lamp onto the ground, sending glass shattering across the floor. It's broken, Sam comments. It's not, Mikey sighs and holds out the wand to the old man. Is there any way you can fix it? Sam examines the wand for a moment before nodding. I can. Seems like a wire in the bulb got tangled in the battery, and the battery's still good. Just gotta get in there with my tweezers and seal it back up. After that, we should probably head back to the station and sit on this technology for a while before using it again. Sounds good? Mike stares down Sam with a frustrated look before replying. Yes. Good. I'll get started. Why don't you two try and go and relax for a bit? Sleep on these comfy beds while you have the chance. Sounds good, Uncle. Thanks. Jess confirms while Mikey nods and returns to the couch to pout. Jess, there's a bedroom on the second floor. You should take that. Mikey and I will stay down here so you don't gotta worry about us. Thanks, Uncle. Jess doesn't want to sleep. After all the days she's lived through, today was by far the worst. She fought with her eyes to stay open, to make sure Uncle doesn't abandon them, however unlikely that may seem. Eventually, the comfort of a mattress, clean sheets, and a pillow won her over, and Jess began to dream. Jess woke up in her bed and made her way to the bedroom window. Uncle walked from the porch to the edge of the island, wishing wand in hand. He stared down into the black abyss below the island, standing uncomfortably close to the island's edge. Sam raised his hand and pointed the wishing wand at the bottom of the abyss, switching it on. But instead of the beam being swallowed by the darkness or opening a portal, it instead showed a light at what lay at the bottom. At the bottom of the void was someone who looked related to Uncle. Jess's first thoughts were that this was Sam's brother, but for what he had wished for was unclear. Uncle raised his leg and hovered his foot above the void, dangling it above his brother that was at the bottom of this ocean of darkness. Jess, realizing what was happening, tried to lift the window to get Uncle's attention. However, as she thought to do this, Uncle dropped off the edge of the island, taking the wishing wand with him. Jess awoke in her bed by a loud thud that came from the first floor. Chills and cold sweats clung to her body and face as she quickly rushed down the staircase. On the first floor, Uncle Sam lay in a growing puddle of his blood. Standing above the man, wishing wand in one hand, butcher's knife in the other, stood Mikey. Mikey, too, was sweating and looked up at Jess with frantic eyes. He was going to leave us. I heard it in my sleep. Uncle was going to take the wishing wand with him. Mikey's eyes vibrated, unable to stay focused on one thing. Jess knew he was examining her for a response, and so Jess swallowed the knot forming in her chest and nodded. I believe you, Mikey. Thank you. Mikey smiled and let out a big breath of air. Good. We should get rid of the body. Jess refused to let her mind point out the absurdity of Mikey's idea, and nodded in agreement. The two picked up and dragged Uncle outside the house. Sam's blood left a trail down the porch and onto the lawn as he approached the island's edge. With one great heave, they tossed Sam's body into the abyss. It never made a sound, never hit a bottom. And when Mike was satisfied, he looked at Jess with a smile. Let's see if we can get this thing to work now that geezer's played with it for a bit. Jess grabbed a hold of the wishing wand and with one hand pulled it from Mike's palm. With the other hand, she placed it on his chest. Jess pushed Mike off the island's edge and into the void. Mikey screamed as he fell. Mikey never stopped screaming. No matter how far he fell, Mikey's screaming sounded the same as if it were right beside Jess. Jess waited for it to be stopped, for Mikey's voice to give out or disappear, but it never did. When Jess took her first step back, however, the island slightly tilted. Barely visible, a black tower emerged from the darkness around the island. It bent over and curved as a mass of black tendrils and insect legs. Insect legs. The tower crashed onto the island and began pulling it down into the abyss. Jess ran for her life, darting on the porch, only to crash into the ground when a leg of the tower caught her boot. Jess manages to kick herself free and scrambles inside the house, but as she flicks the wishing wand switch, the bulb begins to glitch out, strobing and opening dozens of portals within seconds. The portals created become different colors with different swirling energies sparkling from their centers. The house continues to rotate, and more black towers of incomprehensible terrors tear through the home, shredding it apart like paper. Jess crawls as far back as she can into the living room, slamming the wishing wand with her palm and begging for it to fix herself. When the roof of the building is torn off, Jess looks up into the black sky above. A single yellow reddish eye the size of a solar system fixates on her. Out of desperation, Jess tries one last time to open a portal. The previous portals polka dotting the walls and floor begin to merge, cracking the barriers of reality with electric burns and tearing apart all the matter at an atomic level. The wishing wand does not activate in Jess's hands as she wishes to experience any other death than this. Before a swirling mess of tentacles can grab a hold of the final wanderer, Jess slips between the barriers of many portals, the wishing wand falling from her hands and landing on the house's tiles. The entire house begins to vibrate before snapping back into the post-apocalyptic reality. Dust covers its floor, orange clouds soar overhead, and a wanderer climbs over one of the building's crumbled walls. Mikey begins scavenging for anything to trade with, only to catch a box in the corner of his eyes. A box underneath the couch. Mikey pulls out the box and opens it, revealing a factory new wishing wand. He almost can't believe his luck, but when he tries to activate it, the wand doesn't respond. Mikey puts the wand in its box and gets up to leave. On his way out, he comes across a knife, only there's a little blood on it. The blood's fresh, and Mikey calls out for anyone who may have either used it or been stabbed by it. When no one responds, Mikey cleans the blade with his face rag and stashes the knife in his bag as well. He then begins his journey back to the Hyperloop station. There aren't many people left to trade things. It seems like every day the particle accelerator malfunctioned, that more and more people disappear. An apocalypse with no bodies. An apocalypse with only 3 survivors. All who were never familiar with each other in the old world, but immediately in the new world felt a sort of connection. Mikey wondered if maybe he was too trusting. That maybe he had made a family with these 2 strangers despite never knowing them. But for some reason, their fates being tied together just made sense in his head. Alright, and that's it. I'm sorry for my bad speaking.
You're good.
I see you went the Eldritch Horror Groundhog Day route.
Yeah, so basically, when I heard wishes, I instantly thought, perfect, I'm going to do one of the most classic kinds of wishing stories ever, which is the monkey's paw.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I did here. Basically, yeah, you get your wish granted, but it gets granted in such a way
Close enough.
that's so awful every time.
So I have to ask, Jesse is alive and still going to the Hyperloop station in this reality? Or is it supposed to be somebody else?
No, that's Mikey. That's how he finds.
No. But I'm saying, but it's him and 2 strangers. So one would be Uncle Sam,
And the other one.
and then the other one would be Jesse.
Yep.
Okay, so the difference is in this reality, Jesse isn't the one to find the box.
She never did. It was Mikey. He always had the box because he had the wishing one.
But
Jesse just found a battery that
she
made it
had
work.
the battery, and why
okay.
she had a
I
battery
forgot.
was
You're right.
because she wished for death. At the very end, when she was in that house getting torn apart, she wishes for death, and so
And
that's
so she got a battery?
she gets the battery. She caused her own death in the future. Yeah.
She wishes for death, and so it gives her a battery that will eventually kill her.
Yeah, she wishes for death when she's in the middle of, almost dying or something.
Gotcha.
And so that's the twist. It's like, yeah, she got death, but not there.
I
got
did
it in
not
the
even
beginning.
think about that. I did not even think about the battery being the gift of death.
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't know if they're Cody, did you come to that conclusion or no?
Come to that conclusion, no.
I think that
I
if there was anything else that you could uh say or allude to making that connection,
Mm-hmm. Because she picks it out
what
and
I
says,
we could
I didn't put this in my bag. I don't know how this got here. This is," and then Mikey snatches it instantly.
that's
I
true.
guess that is there, but what I think you could have done is right at the end say that right as we stop seeing Jesse, right as like her existence ceases to be right there at the end,
Mm-hmm.
have it be that instead of the flashlight not having a reaction, just have it be that the flashlight like the back of the flashlight opens and the battery falls into her hand.
Or
I
what I
see
would
what you
say is
mean.
even more obscure, because like if you don't want to give it away that blatantly, just say that like her bag felt heavier
Well, and that I said that
in her final moment.
the battery it doesn't weigh anything
Okay.
whenever she first holds it. But if that would have been more clear to do what you're saying,
Yeah, I think
then yeah.
saying that her bag feels heavier or something like that, or like even her saying that like at some point if you say like um whenever she went up to her bedroom, she took inventory and took everything out of her bag. But like she always keeps her bag on her, but she had emptied her bag. And then whenever she is in those final moments, she goes down and checks on Uncle Sam. She didn't pack her things, so her bag should still be empty. And then if you were to briefly say, but it felt like there was something in her bag, um, just to allude to its importance.
Mm-hmm. I see what you're
That's
saying.
the only thing because like that's it. The story I genuinely like it more knowing that the battery was her death, but I didn't get it until you told me, and possibly that could have been me because clearly I was confused about the
I also don't do a good job
who
reading.
had what in the first place, and that's just part of the discrepancy when it comes to a longer story is that things really have to pop and stand out for your reader to remember,
Well, and
and sometimes they can be stupid like me.
no, it's okay. I get what you're saying. Just make it more obvious because I did hide stuff. Like even Mikey has the knife in the beginning, but because Jess wishes death, she doesn't take the knife when he initially trades it. She gives it back to him, meaning
Yeah.
that's why Uncle dies. She didn't just wish for her death; she wished for all three of their deaths,
Uh,
and that's why Mikey
clever,
says that they
clever
all feel
girl.
connected. And uh, anyways, yeah. Sorry, I was gonna just say there's the world building around it is basically the wishing wands got mass produced, and that's why everyone is disappearing. It's like because it's like tying together people.
Wishing for the wrong fucking thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it tricks them. So
Huh. That was for like the first quarter of it, like while they're still at the Hyperloop station, I was like, this feels like a modern day Shakespearean play where like
it
this is
sounded
something that I
bad.
would actually like to like what?
It sounds bad. It sounds like goofy.
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no, no, no. I mean, like, I thought it was going to be a dialogue piece of three characters talking about stuff in like a singular location,
Mm-hmm.
and the dialogue is what drives it forward with everybody. No one's addressing the elephant in the room that's like that death is inevitable, and
Yep.
that they're just pretending to have normalcy. And like that's where the direction I thought it was going. And I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
And then we get the two different scene changes, and that was sick as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it
That
would
was
look
really good. I did quite like it. If I may personally point out, I also was kind of in the same boat Brandon was in, thinking, oh, okay. And I thought you were going to like really go in depth with like describing the area they were in, describing this Hyperloop station, and having them just talk. And I thought you were going to do something similar, like you did with Jess, where you gave Jess like an entire paragraph of like backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you were going to do something similar with the other two as well, and then we were just going to learn about them in one paragraph, and then from there just see how their minds intersect with each other as they talk to each other.
Yeah, and that would have been a dope story too.
Mm.
But that's kind of why I did that part to get you interested and you to be like, oh my gosh, so like this is a kind of like futuristic world and stuff.
Mhm.
And really that was truly all set up for the wishing wand to kind of match with the prompt for this. Because yeah, I could have done it like a different thing, but I thought this was a good twist on, or not even a twist, but just a good way to
Definitely.
follow up the monkey paw style curse wish
You,
voodoo
you
trick.
have the inventor guy. You have Sam casually point out the wishing wand will take you to the closest thing that matches what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And so they teleported to the house that had the wishing wand in it, and Mikey comments, "No, this is just the house I found this wishing wand in."
Yeah, he
And
finds it.
so it's telling him, "No, this is where you're gonna this is where you're gonna find me. Like this is where I'm gonna be."
Yeah. Yeah, it's dope, huh?
Huh.
And then
Weird.
later they teleport again, and they're in the house in like this fucking endless void that I'm assuming is basically like a black hole scenario where time isn't passing and space is distorted.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And I kind of realized in that moment when they're in this dark endless abyss and void that it takes you to the closest thing that you wish for, but there's no limit to that distance if it just happens to be light years away, I guess.
No,
Huh?
it just threw you for a loop. It tricked you. Yeah, it brought them to a whole different kind of like dimension. So yeah,
Can I
like he went for, I want something made by human hands that isn't ruined by this apocalypse.
Yeah,
And the
something
correct
that's-
answer was someplace that is not in this dimension.
exactly, because everything was affected. It's a particle accelerator, meaning it affects time. Of course, that's gonna take precedent over the whole world.
can I
That's also why all the
add
metal
a
is
shot?
rusting super quick.
Can I add a shot that I think would be cool?
Yeah.
If like you ever decide to go back and touch this up again, one scene that I would add, and this would just be like a co-writer thing because I think it would be super cool, is if you wanted to give more time for Jess to explore Mikey's mentality before everything falls apart, so like it's not immediately afterwards.
Yeah.
I would say like a cool scene that you could add to sort of allude to. Of course, we already know that this place doesn't exist in our own physical space, but we don't know that it deals with time weird. That's not clear itself.
No.
So I think what would be cool is I think if like the two people, Jesse and Mikey, did like a 1, 2, 3 heave, and they threw the body of Sam, and let's say like only half of it makes it off of the edge, and so like his lower half would like fly off or like be hanging off the edge, but like his top half smacks onto the ground and he slides off into the void, and then like a couple seconds or a couple minutes later he falls from the top, his smack half hitting again, and he slides off, and then that repeats ad nauseum, and that lets us know as readers, oh, it's not just space, it is space and time.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I
You
thought
do
that would be
point out
cool.
you do point out that like that he never makes a sound when he hits the bottom, or that when Mikey's falling, the scream always sounds like
The
it's right
scream
next
is
to
always
her.
the same.
Yeah.
But like, you know, if you were to add a scene like that and then sort of have Jesse like explore the mentality of Mikey and be like, how do I handle this situation? And knowing the fact that the thud occurs every 30 seconds or something like that. And then what you could do is have her notice that it starts to speed up. Have her notice that the interval seems to be shrinking. And that's our allusion to things are about to collapse in what's in this area, wherever they're at. Because it starts to get like, it goes 0 to 100 real fast, where the large towers start showing up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have her notice that like it's decreased to every 20 seconds. It's decreased to every 10. It's decreased to every 5.
Or have it be that like when Mikey's screaming, have it be that his scream sounds like it's getting higher pitch. It's speeding up.
Are you guys like interested
or
in
just
the
have it
world
stop
building
when
for
they
it, or do we just want to write it? Because I have things I had in mind, but obviously I can't say everything, so I have to just hint to it.
Yeah.
And
for
even
sure.
then, I went over page over. But basically, yeah, the particle accelerator speeded up the decay of all the metal. That's why his
Mhm.
super futuristic society completely collapsed and everything's orange and dusty. But also, as far as like the island floating through the void, that is, first of all, the dream sequence where Jess wakes up and she thinks that she woke up, but it's still just a dream, and Uncle is standing over
Mhm.
the ledge and flashes the light into the bottom of the void. The reason for that is for the world building. Uncle's already said that he invented the wishing wand with his inventor
Yeah.
brother. So his inventor brother they also went on to make this particle accelerator that did this. And that's
They're
why.
stuck in the accelerator. Is that what that is? We're in the accelerator and his brother's at the bottom of it somehow.
So yes and no. First off, is like so that's why Uncle says his old world legacy is no more, because he literally destroyed the whole world with his brother. But his brother also uh disappeared kind of like the similar way as like this particle accelerator, whatever malfunctioned with it, it sent him into the void first.
Yeah.
So his brother is dead in the void, but he like died to the void. He's in there somewhere. He's not on the
Can
island.
I?
So when Uncle
Can I?
flashes his light and then falls
Go
in,
ahead.
it's referencing that he too is going to die here and live in this void. And then, but it's only because of Mikey, who is alive when he falls down. It acts as like a sacrifice to awaken this being outside of space and time. And that's kind of what the wishing wand is connected to. It's like a pawn of its power.
Can I add one more shot, please?
Yeah,
Just
one
because I
more
really
shot.
like this concept.
Oh, okay,
Um,
yeah.
I think in that dream sequence, I think what would be really cool is while you have this parallel of like Sam looking down and seeing his brother, I think it would be really because like we don't know that she's dreaming at first. I
No.
think it would be a really impactful scene if you see him like extend his hand and drop the wishing wand. Because as readers, we'd be like, there's no way he's trapping them here. And then you could say that his brother catches it, and then his brother lets go, and it comes back up into Sam's hand,
I see.
and
You
then
know,
Sam
you know what I
steps off.
thought.
Yeah,
You know what I thought
it's
you were
good.
going to suggest. I
Mhm.
thought what you were going to suggest is Sam looks down at his brother who is below him, and then Jess looks up to see the brother above Sam.
Yeah, that'd be weird.
That too, something like that. Yeah, just really, really. I know that you're dealing with a page constraint, but if you really do want to touch this up, like really mess you've created this space that exists outside of space and time, and because of your like limit to constraint of
Yeah,
page length,
it
you
wasn't
really
important.
couldn't allow yourself to be fun with it. Like,
Yeah.
please, by all means, have fun with it because there's a lot of fun things you can do with it. When you say, "Oh, time doesn't matter, space doesn't matter, and everything's happening at once and not
Exactly.
happening at all,"
Exactly.
really play with it.
It's like a paradox that's already a paradox. These people are
For
dying,
sure.
but because they die, they are cursed to die when they're alive. And it just repeats in that kind of way. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You did in fact write about the Eldritch horrors beyond our comprehension. What
Yeah.
would you give your score?
Oh,
That's what I
me.
was gonna ask. Yeah, what do you think?
Well, I went over the page limit.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
And
Instantly zero.
I wish I could have made it longer. So
No, definitely.
if I could have
I
made
feel
it
you.
longer, I would have done so, like, just being able to describe it all. I had this beautiful envisionment for every single part of it, but because of the restraints and whatnot, I can't have those beautiful details that would also play into it. The most I could fit is like in the very beginning, the fire on the logs had long been extinguished, yet some of the embers still crackled within the fire or burnt wood. You know, just like it's dead, but it's still live, and all that stuff. It's
Mhm.
definitely. I liked it a lot. I had the idea instantly. if I could change anything, just be able to write more. So I'll give myself
Numerical.
I'll give myself an 8.
It personally, if your only limiting factor was page length, I'm personally going to give you like a 9.5 even.
Whoa.
Because I'm not going to consider just what you wrote. I'm going to consider what I think you could have written if we had randomly made the page length to be 10 pages.
Well, thank you.
I think that would have been the best
big-
story here that we've gone so far. Easily.
Thank you.
So
I think
I'll give it a
I'm gonna
9.
have to. I think I'm gonna have to go with a 9 as well. I think that page length is really a problem whenever it's too short, right? Um, because you can release a book with too many pages and people will still read it. But when you have a story to tell, and it feels like a text message, that's a different case, right? So, although we do want to stick within those parameters, I understand that sometimes ideas are so big, and that really is part of that's the other half of what we're trying to
It
deal with
kills
right
me
now,
every week.
with these writing prompts. Yeah, is knowing the constraints and forcing yourself to put yourself in a creative box. So that way, when you're not doing these stories, your parameters, you have so much more room to fill up.
Yeah.
So for that reason, there is optimization that could have been done. I'm glad you didn't do it, but for the sake of what our constraints are supposed to be, I can't say a 10.
Failed.
As well as, you've got every once in a while, I think honestly, if you did choose to pursue this a little bit further, I would say what you might want to consider, you have to, of course, it's your envisionment, but might change everything to first person from Jess's perspective, because I think that this is something that really could be converted into an audio drama, in a storytelling format, like a nice like 20-minute story. I think, or 20-30 minute story, I think would be a great like audio episode, but it would have to be changed from perspective. Have her be the narrator in trying to read people. That'd be a very easy thing to do if you ever chose to do that. But keep it how you want, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a 9 is a great fitting for it.
Thank y'all. All right. Thank you. Let me open up.
I guess.
Now.
Well, I have to ask, Cody, do you have a name for your piece at all or no?
My name is always just the name of the prompt, but if I had to give mine a name, it would literally have just been To Wish Upon a Star.
Gotcha. Cameron, did that piece have a name?
Yeah, it was Wishing Wand, which I'm surprised the concept wasn't more confusing. Because it's...
All right, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess I'll get started with mine. My story is called Toads to Catch in Autumn. I don't know if you know this about me, but I love making nonsensical titles. They're my favorite. So, y'all ready? Forgive me if I'm a little congested. I want to preface this